So, hello, welcome back to another episode of the Self-Development with Tactics podcast. It's getting dark, so I probably should deal with that in some type of way with some proper lighting. There we go. And also a way to, let's just take this, to get rid of my microphone. Quote-unquote microphone, since it's just a phone. What a coincidence. Anyway, let's actually see whether we can find a good book. A short but good book. Still don't want to go through the other one. The non-violent conversation or communication guide. Because I think kind of the first episode already said a lot around like what is important and what isn't, and so on and so forth. So let's actually see and check out what we can find, whether we can find something amazing. How Not to Be Wrong by Jordan Ellenberg. Mathematics as an attention of common sense extension. I'd like to go through this again, doing and thoroughly understanding all the examples. On the first rate, I let it pass over me. Which really does make sense. Brain Rules for Aging Well. The Tao of George Carlin. Poking a Dead Frog. Rated 1 out of 10. Amazing. Die Empty. Watching the English. I'm gonna take the next book, unless I've already gone through it, and that is rated more than 7. Okay, there we go. The Consolations of Philosophy. How can the lessons of philosophers change our life? Thoughtful, unique, and funny book. Cute illustrations with some insightful ideas around that. Let's have a look. Let's see what we can find. Socrates' confidence was not from courage. It had been grounded in philosophy. Philosophy supplies Socrates with convictions in which he had been able to have rational as opposed to hysterical confidence when faced with disapproval. Questioning conventions seems bizarre, even aggressive. Conventions' judgment are deemed plainly too sensible to be the targets of scrutiny. It seems implausible that our society could be gravely mistaken in its beliefs, and at the same time that we would be alone in noticing the fact. We stifle our doubts and follow the flock because we cannot convince ourselves, as pioneers of hitherto unknown and difficult truths. Our will to doubt can be just as powerfully sapped, by an internal sense that societal conventions must have a sound basis, even if we are not sure exactly what this may be, because they have been adhered to by a great many people for a long time. People may be wrong even when they are espousing beliefs held for centuries by vast majorities. Look at Greece in the 5th century BC. They believed in many gods, sacrificed animals, owned one slave to every three of the free population. Women were unable either to inherit property or to own money. A wealthy man can be admirable, but this depends on how wealth was acquired. Just as poverty cannot by itself reveal anything of the moral worth of an individual. Well, yeah, I would say so as well. Even if a wealthy man can be admirable. I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, if somebody attained this wealth or acquired this wealth through things that are morally unacceptable by everyone, then of course it is not an admirable person, period. But, I mean, this is an extreme example, I'd say. Like, there are just gonna be many people that did something wrong, but it's still like, how should I say? it is not amoral. One could kind of see like doing so. I mean, for some people, capitalism itself is amoral. It really depends. It really depends on how you think about things, which I guess is kind of the problem that one might be having with philosophy. Anyway, examine beliefs logically. A correct statement is one incapable of being rationally contradicted. A statement is true if it cannot be disapproved. Locate a statement confidently described as common sense. Search for situations where the statement would not be true. If found, the definition must be false or at least imprecise. The initial statement must be nuanced to take the exception into account. Which is a sentence and a paragraph and a thing that I really do enjoy because I believe in it and I do practice that as well. Meaning, trying to communicate as clearly as I possibly can. Saying, okay, these people are bad, well, it is very inaccurate and probably also not right. And so clarifying it, just making sure that what you're saying is actually accurate and really does make sense, because we can, we can make a space so small that that it is the truth, a very big space, a big volume of, either people or situations or whatever it may be, is seldomly right unless it's like a universal truth, like, I don't know, like all human beings are human beings, which does kind of talk about a lot of people, a high volume of things and people and whatnot, and it is also the truth. But saying like, okay, all X, Y, and Z people are just bad or wrong or criminals or just also good, whatever, just something positive as well, is also not right. Anyway, the product of thought is superior to the product of intuition. We acquire a misplaced respect for others when we concentrate solely on their conclusion, which is why Socrates urged us to dwell on the logic they used to reach them. One shouldn't respect all human opinions, but only those of people with understanding. The validity of an idea or action is determined not by whether it is widely believed or widely revealed, but by whether it obeys the rules of logic. So in the end, whether it is true or not. We seek doctors because they understood bodily maladies better than we can. We should turn to philosophers for the same reason when our soul is unwell. Or therapists. It's senseless to alarm yourself in advance about death, a state which you will never experience. There is nothing terrible in not living. Like the last sentence just made it worse, I'd say. Saying it is senseless to alarm yourself in advance about death, a state which you will never experience, which is a fact, you will never experience it. So there's also no reason to, there is a reason to fear it or alarm yourself because it is something that you do not know. And I wouldn't say in general, people do not like things they don't know. A recipe book. Identify a project for happiness. In order to be happy on holiday, I must live in a villa. Second, imagine that the project may be false. Look for exceptions to the supposed link between the desired object and happiness. Could one possess the desired object but not be happy? Could one be happy but not have the desired object? Could I spend money on a villa and still not be happy? Could I be happy on holiday and not spend as much money as on a villa? If an exception is found, the desired object can be a necessary and sufficient cause of happiness. It is possible to have a miserable time in a villa if I feel friendless and isolated. It is possible for me to be happy in a tent if I am with someone I love and feel appreciated by. In order to be accurate about producing happiness, the initial project must be nuanced to take the exception into account. Insofar as I can be happy in an expensive villa, this depends on being with someone I love and feel appreciated by. I can be happy without spending money on a villa as long as I am with someone I love and feel appreciated by. I kind of feel like that this sentence was repeated like 10 million times. True needs may now seem very different from the confused initial desire. Happiness depends more on the possession of a companion than a well-decorated villa. Expensive objects can feel like plausible solutions to needs we don't understand. Wealth beyond what is natural is of no more use than water to a container that is overflowing. And business stimulate unnecessary desires in people who fail to understand their true needs. The last one, choice. Societies which stimulate unnecessary desires but achieve enormous economic strengths. As a result, societies which would provide for essential material needs but could never raise living standards beyond subsistence. No technological advances and little incentive to trade with distant continents. It is in this discontent that has driven life steadily onward out to the high seas, that the only way to evaluate their merits is according to the pleasure they inspire. And yeah, with that being said, I'm going to end the episode there. Wish you the best. See you soon. Bye-bye.